Have you ever sat down after dinner, kicked your feet up, and suddenly thought, why do my toes feel weird again? Like they're half asleep, but not really? Maybe it starts as a little tingling, then some numbness, or even a burning feeling that just won't go away. And you tell yourself, it's just my age. It's probably nothing. Just part of getting older. But what if I told you? It might not be age. It might not be diabetes. It might not even be your circulation. It might be something right there on your dinner plate. Something you thought was good for you. Something you've eaten for years, because everyone says it's healthy. Now I know that sounds a little surprising, maybe even frustrating. You've spent your whole life trying to eat better, do better, be better, especially now that you're older. You try to make smart choices. You've cut back on sugar, maybe even salt. And you fill your plate with vegetables. Because, well, that's what we've all been told, right? But here's the thing no one tells you, not all vegetables are good for everyone. Especially not if you're dealing with foot numbness, tingling, or nerve pain. You see, some vegetables, yes, even the ones that seem healthy, can quietly aggravate nerve issues, inflame your system, and make those strange sensations in your feet even worse. And the worst part? Most doctors don't even bring it up. So, if you've been feeling frustrated, confused, or just plain tired of wondering why your feet won't stop buzzing or going numb, I want you to know, you are not imagining it. And you're not alone. This matters more than you think. Because that foot numbness? It isn't just uncomfortable, it's a warning sign. A sign that something's not quite right. And if left unchecked, it could affect your ability to walk, to balance, to stay independent. And I know, if you're anything like me, or like my own mother, you want to stay in control. You want to keep doing the things you love, on your terms, without worrying about falling or losing sensation in your feet. So, in today's video, we're going to shine a light on something that often goes unnoticed. We're uncovering 3 vegetables that seniors, especially those dealing with foot numbness, may want to avoid or rethink. They might seem healthy on the surface. But for some people, they could be doing more harm than good. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll not only know what these vegetables are, but you'll also discover some better, safer, nerve-friendly alternatives you can start eating right now. You deserve to feel steady on your feet. You deserve to walk without that strange buzzing or numbness creeping in. And it might start with something as simple as what you choose to put on your plate tonight. Now before we dive in, let me ask you. Have you ever suspected that something in your diet might be making your symptoms worse? Comment, I'm here, below if that thought has ever crossed your mind. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want more down-to-earth, trustworthy health advice from Elderly Wisdom Guide. We're here to help you live wiser, feel stronger, and stay independent for as long as possible. Alright, let's dig in. Let's talk about Mary. Mary is 72. Sharp as ever, loves gardening, and always made it a point to eat healthy. Her favorite dish? Roasted eggplant with garlic and olive oil. She used to make it every Sunday. She believed in clean eating. Organic veggies. Fewer processed foods. You know, doing everything right. But here's the thing, over the past year, Mary started noticing something strange. Her feet would tingle at night. Sometimes, they'd go numb while she was watching TV. Other times, it felt like tiny pins were dancing across her toes, especially after dinner. She thought it was her age. Maybe poor circulation. Maybe her diabetes acting up. She mentioned it to her doctor, who ran a few tests. Blood sugar? Stable. Circulation? Fair. Nothing alarming. Still, the numbness wouldn't go away. It slowly got worse. She began avoiding long walks. Started wearing softer slippers. And that once joyful evening stroll with her dog? It became a cautious, slow shuffle. Now here's where it gets interesting. Mary's daughter, curious and a little worried, started digging into Mary's diet. Everything seemed fine, until she noticed how often eggplant was showing up. Grilled, roasted, even baked into casseroles. Almost every other day. Turns out, eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, along with tomatoes, potatoes, and bell peppers. These veggies contain a natural chemical called solanine. Now, solanine isn't dangerous in small doses for most people. But for some, especially older adults with nerve sensitivity or underlying conditions like neuropathy, it can become a silent irritant. It doesn't just inflame joints or muscles. It can also irritate nerve endings, amplifying symptoms like tingling, burning, and, you guessed it, foot numbness. But here's the part nobody talks about. We've been trained to believe that vegetables are always good for us. And most of the time, they are. But not all veggies are safe for everyone, all the time. That's where the confusion lies. You see, many seniors, just like Mary, think, if it grew from the ground, it must be healthy. But your body changes as you age. What worked for you at 40 or even 60 may not work the same at 70 or 80. Your gut, your nerves, your metabolism, they all become more sensitive. And while solanine-rich veggies might be fine for your neighbor or even your spouse, for you, they could be aggravating already vulnerable nerves, especially in your legs and feet. So, what can you do? First off, don't panic. You don't have to swear off all vegetables. You just need to be a little smarter about which ones you choose. If you've been eating eggplant regularly, and you've also noticed worsening foot numbness, try pressing pause on it for a couple of weeks. Give your body time to reset. And instead, try zucchini, soft, easy to cook, and full of fiber. Or yellow squash. Gentler on the digestive system and loaded with nutrients like vitamin C and magnesium, which are both important for nerve health. These alternatives are soothing, low in solanine, and won't stir up inflammation the way eggplant might. Remember, this isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's about listening to your body, noticing the subtle changes, and adjusting your diet to support the life you want to live. A life that feels steady, confident, free from that frustrating, creeping numbness. And eggplant? Well, it's not the villain, but for some seniors, it might not be the friend it once was. But eggplant isn't the only hidden trigger. There's another vegetable, one that shows up in soups, stews, and sides all across the country. And while it tastes sweet and familiar, it might be quietly sabotaging your nerve health every time you eat it. Let's talk about that. Now let's shift to Tom. Tom's 68. Big heart, loves fishing, and just retired after 40 years of honest work. He's the kind of guy who wants to stay active. So when his doctor said, "You need to watch your blood sugar," Tom took it seriously. He cut out soda, stopped buying cookies, and started eating what he thought were more vegetables. One of his favorites? Canned corn. He liked the taste, the texture. Easy to heat up, went well with almost everything. He'd add it to soups, mix it into casseroles, and spoon it right beside his chicken at dinner. It made him feel like he was doing the right thing. But something wasn't right. About 6 months into this new routine, Tom began noticing an odd tingling in his feet. At first, it came and went. Then it started sticking around, longer and longer. He felt it most in the evenings. Sometimes in the morning, too. And eventually, it turned into numbness, that frustrating, disconnected feeling like your socks are too thick, even when you're barefoot. He went to his podiatrist. After a few tests, they confirmed what Tom had feared. His neuropathy was progressing. Now here's the surprising part. Tom's blood sugar wasn't wildly out of control. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. So what was happening? Let's talk about corn, because this is where the confusion comes in. You see, corn gets filed under vegetables. But in reality, corn behaves more like a grain, and a starchy, sugary one at that. Especially canned corn, which often contains added sugar and salt. Even the no salt added versions are still high in natural starch. And that starch breaks down fast in your body, spiking your blood sugar not long after you eat it. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't have diabetes, so I'm fine. But here's the thing, you don't have to be diabetic to suffer from the effects of blood sugar swings. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at processing sugar. Even small, repeated spikes in blood sugar can lead to damage in your smallest nerves. Especially in the feet, where circulation is already slower in many older adults. This is why so many seniors, just like Tom, feel like their symptoms are getting worse, even when they're eating healthier. It's not about junk food. It's about hidden sugar in foods we assume are safe. And corn? It's a sneaky one. It's sweet. Familiar. Harmless seeming. But for someone over 60, especially with borderline or diagnosed blood sugar issues, it can quietly chip away at your nerve health over time. So, what can you do instead? Don't focus on what you're taking away, focus on what you can add in. Try leafy greens, kale, spinach, Swiss chard. They're not only packed with fiber and nutrients, but they actually help stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and support nerve repair. Throw a handful into a smoothie. Sauté it with a little garlic and olive oil. Add it to soups instead of corn, and give your body something it can truly thrive on. You see, it's not about being perfect. It's about being aware. Making small changes, one meal at a time. And those small changes, they add up. They give your body the fighting chance it needs to heal, to protect, to feel better. Now, if you've been enjoying corn and noticing your foot numbness creeping in, try skipping it for a few weeks. Replace it with something green, fresh, and fiber-rich. Watch what happens. Because sometimes, the answers are that simple. But here's the twist. The next vegetable we're about to talk about, it's one that's often praised for being good for your eyes. Doctors, nutritionists, even commercials say it's full of vitamins. And it is. But for seniors struggling with nerve sensitivity or numbness in the feet, it might not be doing you any favors. In fact, it could be quietly making things worse. Let's talk about this unexpected culprit. Let's not forget about Linda. Linda's 75. She's vibrant, full of life, and she loves her colorful meals. Every lunch, every dinner. It wasn't complete without red, yellow, or orange bell peppers. Raw in her salads, sautéed in her omelets, roasted in her stir-fries. She loved the crunch, the sweetness, the color. And honestly, you'd think she was doing everything right. Plenty of fresh veggies, low on processed foods, and a focus on natural ingredients. But there was one nagging problem Linda couldn't shake: foot numbness. She'd been on medication for neuropathy. Watched her sugar. Even exercised regularly. Still. Every evening, that familiar tingling returned. That odd, creeping sense of pins and needles in her soles. Sometimes a dull burning in the arches. And then, the numbness. Like her feet had fallen asleep, but never fully woke back up. She asked her doctor. They ran more labs. Everything looked normal. And yet, Linda knew, something wasn't right. It wasn't until a nutritionist took a closer look at her daily diet that something unexpected popped up. Linda was eating bell peppers, every single day. Now, that sounds strange, right? Bell peppers are healthy, right? They're rich in vitamin C, packed with antioxidants, and they look beautiful on a plate. But here's the twist. Bell peppers are part of the nightshade family, just like eggplant. And while nightshades offer nutrients, they also contain alkaloids, plant compounds that can irritate the nervous system in certain people. These alkaloids, like capsaicin and solanine, can cause low-level inflammation, especially in people who already have nerve sensitivity or autoimmune issues. And seniors often fall right into that category. Now, don't get me wrong, not everyone is sensitive to nightshades. But if you're a senior dealing with neuropathy, tingling, burning, or numbness in your feet, and you're eating bell peppers regularly, it's worth a second look. Because here's the part most people never hear. Even healthy foods can become trigger foods when the body is already under stress. As you age, your gut barrier weakens, your immune system shifts, and your nerves become more reactive. What used to be harmless, or even helpful, might now be stirring up discomfort in ways you'd never suspect. And here's the biggest misconception: people assume that because bell peppers are full of vitamins, they must be safe across the board. But nutrients are only part of the story. What matters more is how your body responds to those nutrients, and the compounds surrounding them. So, what can you do? You don't have to banish color from your plate. In fact, keeping meals visually appealing is important for appetite and enjoyment, especially in older adults. Instead of bell peppers, try broccoli. It's high in vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants, without the nightshade compounds. Or go with asparagus. Rich in folate and glutathione, a powerful antioxidant that supports nerve repair and reduces inflammation. Both of these are gentler on the nerves, easier to digest, and help support better circulation, a key part of reducing that dreaded foot numbness. And here's a practical tip: if you're not ready to give up peppers entirely, start by reducing how often you eat them. Have them once a week instead of every day. Notice how your feet feel. It's about tuning into your body and giving it the space to speak up. Sometimes, less is more. And awareness is everything. So, what have we learned? Eggplant, corn, bell peppers. Each one looks innocent on the surface. But in the context of aging nerves and sensitive bodies, they might be quietly nudging your symptoms in the wrong direction. Now that we've uncovered these hidden culprits, let's talk about what it really means for your health moving forward. Because this isn't just about avoiding vegetables. It's about reclaiming your comfort, your independence, and your peace of mind. Let's look at the bigger picture, together. Realizing that the very foods we believed were good for us, those bright, beautiful vegetables on our plate, might actually be making things worse. That can be frustrating. It can even feel like a betrayal. You've spent years making what you thought were smart, healthy choices. You've tried to eat clean, cut back on sugar, avoided processed junk. Only to find out that some of the things that made you feel like you were doing your best might have been quietly adding to your discomfort. And I know, it's scary. Because it's not just about numb feet. It's about what that numbness could lead to. A stumble in the hallway. Trouble feeling the ground beneath your shoes. Less confidence when walking outside or even down the stairs. That sensation in your feet? It's more than just a symptom. It's a message from your body. One that says, please pay attention. But here's the good news. You are not powerless. You don't need to flip your entire lifestyle upside down. You don't need to follow a complex, restrictive diet. And you don't need to fear your food. What you need is awareness. And a willingness to make a few small, thoughtful changes. That's it. Just small shifts. Like trading bell peppers for broccoli. Corn for spinach. Eggplant for zucchini. Little by little, these swaps add up. And when you make choices that support your nerves, not challenge them, you'll start to notice things shift. Maybe it starts with less tingling in the morning. Maybe you feel steadier on your feet when you get out of bed. Or maybe, just maybe, you feel a bit more like yourself again. So, here's what I want you to do. The next time you sit down with your grocery list, or look in your fridge, ask yourself, are these foods supporting me, or slowing me down? If you see those nightshades or starchy veggies we talked about today, just pause. Consider cutting back. And look at what else you can bring in, foods that soothe, not stress, your nervous system. Even one swap, one thoughtful decision, can be the start of something better. And listen, if you're hearing all this and thinking, is it too late for me? The answer is simple, it's never too late. Your body is still listening, still healing, still trying to do its best for you. And when you give it the right tools, even now, even later in life, it responds. It really does. You deserve to feel steady when you walk. You deserve to feel warmth and comfort in your steps. You deserve to enjoy your golden years without the cloud of uncertainty that numbness brings. So hold on to this truth, you are not stuck. You are learning. And with knowledge, comes freedom. Let's keep walking this path together, toward clarity, confidence, and a little more comfort with every step. To quickly recap. The 3 vegetables we've talked about today, yes, the ones that may be quietly worsening foot numbness in seniors, are eggplant, part of the nightshade family, known to irritate sensitive nerves. Corn, which can spike blood sugar and harm nerve health over time. And bell peppers, another nightshade that may sound healthy, but can trigger discomfort in people prone to neuropathy. They look harmless on the plate. They're often praised in magazines or recommended on health blogs. But for some seniors, these veggies could be silently working against your comfort. Have you experienced foot numbness lately? Maybe it shows up in the evenings. Maybe it comes and goes, like a light switch. And maybe, these very vegetables have been part of your weekly meals for years. So, here's what I'd love you to do, drop a comment below. Have you eaten any of these veggies regularly? Have you felt changes in your feet or legs that you've been brushing off as, just getting older? Your story matters. In fact, it might help someone else in our community connect the dots in their own journey. And if today's video gave you something to think about, if it opened your eyes to something new, or even just made you feel understood, then I invite you to hit that like button and subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. We're here for real conversations. For honest, thoughtful tips that honor your life, your experience, and your health journey. No scare tactics. No fluff. Just grounded, compassionate advice you can trust. And before we wrap up, let me say this, thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for caring enough to learn, to reflect, and to take steps toward better health. Whether it's changing your vegetables or simply paying more attention to how your body feels, you're doing something powerful. So, stay informed. Stay kind to your body. And most of all, keep walking strong. Until next time, this is Elderly Wisdom Guide, signing off. Take care of yourself. And know that every small choice you make today is a gift to your future self.